Hello there. This is Jim Wortham. It's can you believe this? November the 18th. It's getting close to Christmas. 2024. I haven't been on for a while for many different reasons. Illness being one. My Acer computer going out for two. Cameras going out for three. And right now, in order to use this Dell computer with the built-in camera and audio, I had to delete. It was full of the prior 100 and something videos that I had saved. So this you can let me know if you compare this to the other ones um, of the last, say, four or five. If this is better audio, if it's better video, and if it's coming across more clear. Okay, this is sort of a catch up of what's happened recently. Um, I guess I should start with the fact that I caught a cold from having the temperature too cold in the bedroom. And I knew I was going to catch a cold, but my wife, she likes it. No, she likes it cold. I like it hot. So I kept piling blankets on. Now, let me mention this. This is a chat, okay? We're just chatting tonight. This is not a focused, scripted. This is pure letting you know what's going on in my life here in the last few days. I started sniffling that night. I knew I was getting a cold. More blankets wasn't helping. I don't know what it was. But we had a long trip planned the next day. And if I remember right, I didn't get up till 11 o'clock the next day. And I was sniffling. I was taking Tylenol just to be able to sleep a few hours. I took Xanax and melatonin. Xanax is prescription, melatonin is not. So that got me in the car the next day with my wife, and we went to our trip to meet relatives. Now let me share with you my relatives. We walked in and they were all wearing masks that you did when there was COVID. Now imagine walking into your family's home and everybody but us had masks on. Well, I knew there had been some bad um, illnesses with one of the people. Very bad. We're talking about being put on respirator 3 times and being put into a coma for 12 days while they were trying to find out what antibiotics could keep them alive. So, no hard feelings about those masks, heavy-duty masks, because he didn't even make it to his son's funeral in San Francisco. I was in San Francisco, my wife was, and we went there to see his son, the father's son. And we're talking about a married couple here. Father's son was hospitalized the night before the before the wedding. And I think we gave him a few dollars to sort of pay for the trip back, because they had to change the itinerary for the plane trip back to Kentucky. We're talking about Lexington, Kentucky here. So he lived that time. First time he almost didn't live. Being in comas, you don't really know whether to have hope or not. I'll tell you something kind of funny, and I've been to this church 2 or 3 times in Florida. She has one sister and one brother, and her brother lives in Florida. And when he was on all these ventilators and coma, produced coma, the doctor ordered a coma, so he didn't wake up for about 12 days. What happened here was that that church had a couple thousand members, and it played a lot of gospel music, and we visited it when we visited her family down there. It was an upbeat church. It didn't necessarily jive with my personal Christian beliefs, because I was brought up as a Southern Baptist. But this was a more of a, what they call community church. But let me tell you, if they prayed, he woke up. And that is no joke. Didn't wake up necessarily the same moment or the same day, because the family called and said, would you pray for, pray for him. So it would have had to have been the next Sunday, unless they had a prayer network, which some churches do. And he survived. He survived, but at this point, he's had so many other illnesses, and I'll just name a few: diabetes, kidney problems. I don't think he has liver problems. I don't think that's an issue. There's other problems too that I can't recall at the moment. A very fine man. I would say if I had a friend, I'd make him a friend. Or let me consider him a friend. Because I've known him since I've been married to my wife. So I just feel so sorry that his health has gotten to the point where he's, since the COVID 2020 approximately, since COVID, he's only been out of the house one time. And they have stuff delivered, like Kroger's delivers, Walmart, I guess, they'll deliver to you. You tell them what you want and they'll deliver it, whether it's groceries or other things, especially groceries. And so we visited them that night that I was very sick, the day after the sickness started. And then we went to a motel, Comfort Inn, because we had a special discount, 2 special discounts. One because I have white hair, the other one because I was on the Choice membership card. So we got a cheap, would you call $114 for a motel cheap? We got cheap. We didn't eat the complimentary breakfast. We couldn't get up that early. In fact, we asked for extended, you can do this, ask for an extended checkout. Let's say it's always 11. Say, can you extend it to 12 or 1? That's what we did. So, oh man, I didn't want to get up. But I was starting to get better. Taking Tylenol, I take a few sleeping medicine. Well, one sleeping medicine. And I was feeling better that day. So we bought them food to eat. We all ate together. Talked. It was a good visit. This was a 2-day visit. But we drove back yesterday with almost no sleep. And let me tell you this. A 2 or 3 hour drive when you're not feeling good seems twice as long. And that's what it felt like. So I come home, do the bare necessity of unloading the car. I have two senior citizens that I check on because I'm a retired, but still active as far as licensed mental health counselor. We'll put that. I'll brag on myself. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, certified psychologist, licensed. What was that I had to go through? A licensed addiction therapist and a licensed school psychology. Do you know why I couldn't remember it? Once I got the license, I never went into another school. Something about schools. You'd understand it if you knew the grades I made in school. High school. I was too shy in elementary school to make any difference. I just didn't have any friends. I will tell you this, you'll love this. My friend, I had a couple friends toward the end. My first friend in the first grade offered me some of those vanilla wafers. I thought, oh my God, someone paid not only attention to me, but they offered me vanilla wafers. Can you imagine that? That was in first grade. That's when they had the restrooms in the actual classroom, and if you were in there, you put a sign on the door so somebody else wouldn't come in. Second grade, during an hour break after lunch, we were to take a nap. Well, I had the biggest red rug you could imagine. I didn't take a break. And the teacher knew it. Every day. I would scoot all around the room. Now you gotta understand, I got the biggest rug, so it covered my body. So I'd scoot around, looking at her to see if she was looking at me. I got through the second grade and passed it. I'm going to jump to sixth grade. That was the last grade of elementary. You ever heard of a ham radio operator, also known as amateur radio operator? Well, I was so bored in class, I wouldn't listen to the teacher. But there was World Book Encyclopedia on the right of where I was sitting. I pulled one out It was so boring I didn't want to listen to the teacher. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Now, I mean, you can identify with that. Um, so I flipped through the pages and I saw a picture of a guy with a radio, and he was talking on a microphone, just small, but like that on the page. And then it said you could become a ham radio operator for $50 to $100, buying used equipment, of course. Oh my God, I was shy. You mean I can talk to people over the world? This was not CB. Amateur radio is totally different than CB. So I tell my dad about it. I'm so excited. He says, well, I work with a guy that's a ham radio operator. He hooked us up. I became a ham radio operator at age 14. Talked to people over the world. At first, by Morse code, because you had to have a higher class to talk on the phone. You have several classes of ham radio. So I went ahead and worked myself up. You had to take tests. You had to know the Morse code. I had to know it 5 words a minute just to become a ham. Toward the end, you had to know it to get the highest rank. You had to get 23 words a minute. And then, if all things, they dissolved. The FCC, Federal Communications Commission, did away with Morse code. But they made the test harder. The test, you might have 400 questions to choose from in a study book. Now listen to this one. You have 400, and I'm just guessing because I've stopped taking the tests. I never passed the extra class. Extra was the top, but it didn't give you any more privileges, actually. A few more frequencies you could operate on. So I was general class, if you're listening and you're a ham operator, and I still am. So I went ahead and earned those licenses. The next one was 13 words a minute. Next one I forgot because they've just abandoned it. Out of the 400 questions, they gave you 4 choices to select from. Now you could buy a theory book that would tell you the theories so that you could, so that you could learn how to be a genius. However, there were study books that had the 400 questions and the 4 choices for each question. And it told you which question was the right question. Have you ever tried that on anything that had 400 questions to study from to get a license of any kind? Medical license, I'm thinking nurse's license, any kind of license. You got 400 questions. You got 4 choices under each question. I want you, if you haven't tried that, to consider one thing. When they mix them all up in the computer, you don't have to know the 400 questions. You may only need to know 200 questions. And it's scrambled. It's not in the order that you studied in the book. No. And then you freeze. You don't have a time limit. You freeze because each question seems like two or three of the answers were the same. Now, do you know why I didn't become an extra class amateur radio program? Now, I'm more into now trying to get on CB again. No license required. And no test. But they're friendlier. It's like you and me chatting. If you're a ham radio operator, you gotta say, I'm WA4LOS and in Louisville, Kentucky, and this, that, and the other, and back over to you. And you have to identify yourself every so many minutes. Everybody's kind of starchy and stiff. That's how I'd put it. And then on weekends, they were running contests. Who wants to be in a contest? You're not going to win anything. At the best, you're going to get your name listed and your call letter listed in one of the two ham magazines that come out monthly. So much for that. Your field could be something else. You could be a truck driver. If you're a truck driver, you know the changes. How do I know the changes? Not to brag, but I was the only one in about 3 counties that took the courses and passed them to be able to. You had to get them in front of you. What I mean by that is so you could see if there's something strange going on. If they're scratching their legs and they're feeling bugs coming up their legs, they're on a heavy duty drug. It could be meth, it could be crack. I don't think it would be cocaine. Or you could look at their pupils. Are you on Darvocet? You don't say this to them. Are you on hydrocodone, which is Lortab and Norco and all that stuff? So you're asking them questions that they're going to lie to you. No, this was the first time I ever used marijuana, and I got tested. See, it's random testing for truck drivers. I got tested on the first time. I thought, oh, well, we'll put you through a small amount of education, maybe a week's worth of a 2 or 3 hour qualified teacher of substance abuse, which I'm the only one here in town. The others died. I have people calling me because I'm the only person they can find on the internet that knows substance abuse, because that was my first job. Nobody else would hire me. It was at Our Lady of Peace. I volunteered for 6 months. I've been working in substance abuse ever since. Let me tell you what I don't like. Marriage and family counseling. And you know why. People wait too long. And they're on the verge of divorce when they come to counseling. But beyond that, are very close to it, are adolescents that are smoking pot, crack, meth, and the parents want me to fix them, get them off of this. I don't need to tell you anything. I have had to hospitalize them because they were going through a withdrawal or detox if it was alcohol, or they were going to die. That's not my favorite. Family. Now, having said that, if they're an adult and they've been struggling with substance abuse, I can help them. I've done that ever since I did my internship. Now, what else can I say? I have very few people that come to see me before I was semi-retired that wanted help. They wanted to get on disability, so they were faking disability. And because I worked in the mental level rather than the physical, it's easier to get on disability because you have to believe what they say enough to write it down on progress notes and on the assessment. And they've already learned how to fake it. How they're supposed. If they have schizophrenia, you've heard of schizophrenia. If you're on schizophrenia, you're not going to be able to work You're not going to be able to work. All I can say is, if you want to know what schizophrenia is, look it up on Google. I've had them get on there for getting fired too much. Can you believe persons say they're bipolar and their moods go up and down like this? So what they do is they go to a place where they hire people, temporary. They get a job. I'm telling you some inside secrets here, buddies. And they get a job because nobody will work in this town. Maybe in your town too. Nobody's working. So what happens here is they act weird and get fired. Then they go to another temporary agency, or even the same one, doesn't matter. Got any jobs available? Yeah, got one here in a different factory here. We got a lot of factories here that makes parts for autos and trucks. So they go around the rounds, and when they fill out the application for disability, they tell every place they worked for 2 weeks or 3 weeks and got fired because they were incapable. Incapable because of a disability. Disability being so severe, they didn't know what to do. Well, you're not going to hire someone at a fast-paced factory that goes into depression and freezes up and says, now, I know what you told me to do yesterday. I've forgotten it all today. So they do this a whole bunch of times, put it on the application, get an attorney, and you know the rest is history. They're making $1,200 to $3,000. Got one or making $3,000. close to 3,000 if it's not 3,000. It could be more than 3,000. And the reason why is that he had worked, I think, to almost retirement at a power plant that pays real well. So the Social Security amount was so high that when he applied for disability, he got close to 3,000, if not more. I once thought about writing a book. I've helped so many people get on disability that I thought deserved it. Then I found out some told me they didn't deserve it because they faked schizophrenia, or yeah, that was the main one. They faked it. They told me this later. And it's not up to me to alert the Social Security Department because of HIPAA law. And also, I don't want to be shot by the person if he gets dropped off of disability. I will tell you this. I have told them. I have had them told me they faked it. How's that feel? And had me convinced. They convinced me because they had read all of the books on what they were applying for. And they had it down letter by letter, word by word, sentence by sentence. Perfect profile of whatever their mental illness was. I never made $3,000 a month. Did you? Maybe you are now. Just telling you the story. And these are true stories, by the way. Sometimes I use what's called it's called poetic justice, but this would be when I'm doing something poetic. I may have one or two poetic videos, and I may stretch things up and down all around all this stuff. But the basic poem or poems will be pretty much right on target. I won't mention the person's legal name. And might not tell everything we did. Do you tell everything you've done with while you were growing up? Would you put that on the air? My gosh. Where are we going? There's just so much to talk about because I'm feeling better tonight. I've got a severe headache from long-term COVID. It switched from my lungs, switched to my memory. When I say memory, it's called memory fog. You just blank out. Or you can't remember people's names. You can't remember, you'll be talking. You probably caught it on this, that I was starting to say something and it took me a few seconds to remember where I left off. That's memory fog. Light memory fog. I think I'm getting better, but it's 2020 when I got my first COVID. Then I got a second COVID. Then I got a third COVID. You tell a doctor that you've got COVID, a long COVID, that you can't remember anything, that you got headaches, that you can't walk up the stairs anymore because you can barely crawl. And ask them, like I did. Ask them. Well, there's more than that. I mean, can't get up. You got to sleep 12 or more hours, maybe all day. You can look it up on YouTube and look up some not doctors. Look up real people that have long-term COVID. And you're going to find out. And this is something that you won't read on there, I bet. But it's a virus that can go all around your body. Right now, mine's migraines. Never had headaches before. I'm doing this with migraines. It's not too hard because we're chatting. I'm not focused. I'm not focused on the subject. But what I'm saying is, I've been experiencing migraines for at least a month when I never had one before. Never had headaches. When I walk up the stairs, we got a lot of stairs here. We got one from the basement to upstairs. That doesn't bother me. It's not too high. But we have 2 sets of stairs going up to my bedroom. You ever feel like it? Here's how I do it. I grab one rail and I grab the other rail on both sides of the walking up the stairs. And there's pain in my legs. If I didn't hold on to them, I'd slip. A couple other items I'll tell you. I'll get off of this long term. I slipped while I was trying to open the door. Slipped on the concrete porch. Couldn't get up for a while. My wife had to open the door. That wasn't as bad as the next month when I got up to use the restroom. Some of y'all probably do that too. In the middle of the night, get up and go to the restroom. So I do that, and I collapsed right on the floor. I didn't make it to the restroom where I was headed. Okay, there's a sink in front of me. Most restrooms have a sink, and some have a commode. Some have a bathtub. I used to be a weightlifter. I belonged to a whole lot of gyms. Never won any prizes, but here I'm reaching, trying to get off the floor. I fall on my back. It's 12 o'clock at night. I tried to grab on to the sink to pull myself up. No movement. No movement. Keep trying. Surely, if I could just get on the edge of that sink, I could pull myself up. What's left? Call the ambulance. Send 2 people out. True story. Another story. We have a Honeywell, big thick Honeywell filter for a heat pump, but it's up in the attic. And for some reason, the furnace or whatever it's called was at the very end of the house. So here I go. I put the furnace in, or the furnace filter, and then I come back and I slipped. There were 2x4s, nothing in between. If I fell, I'd probably land on top of either my car or the concrete garage. So here I am, about half an hour between two 2x4s. My strength was gone. I thought I'm going to have to get you know what I'm going to say, 911. Call 911. Get the ambulances to get me out of the attic. Before I did that, I didn't give up. There were pieces of wood, holding up the attic. And for some reason, I was able to have the strength to crawl over to the side and grab one of those 2x4s and swing myself over. Didn't swing myself. Crawl over one of those 2x4s that I was between. And then once that happened, I was able to walk. And I walked, made it to the ladder, went down the ladder, didn't have to call the ambulance. Then the next event was, I decided to go get something to eat at the refrigerator, and I reached for the door and collapsed. These are things that happen with long COVID that you probably haven't heard of before because people don't believe in it. If you look at YouTube, only look at the people that have it, because the doctors will tell you it only lasts for 6 months or 2 years. It will last forever. It can last forever. I'm not saying mine will, but mine just took over my head with migraines, and also my legs. I have to hold on to the rails, and wooden rails. It doesn't hurt my hand. It just hurts my legs because there's pain shooting in them. I still got to walk up the stairs to the bedroom. Okay, I just share that to let you know that if you think COVID's gone away, it hasn't. And that many people that have even had COVID one time, I had it 3, even had it one time, will have it forever, and it will be called long-term COVID or long COVID. You can read all about it. Now, let me tell you about last night. I was doing a wonderful YouTube for you all. It was about, should I say it? 10 girls I dated in college and how it turned out. I thought this would be a fun thing for you to listen to. So I was using a different computer, a new computer. Not this old. This Dell's about 10 to 12 years old. I bought it for $130 off of Amazon used. Yet it's the best computer I've had. So, so I could talk to you tonight. I had to delete so many past videos of that 100 and something I have put on YouTube. I'm going to have to do a whole lot more deleting because I'm using up a lot of minutes right now, aren't I? What's it say? 46 minutes? Okay. So it was a fun, very fun video I did last night. And I used this on a different computer. This is a Logitech, and it's a microphone and a video. It always worked before. So with the best video until today that I recorded, the best video, when I played it back, see I'm doing this on the camera setting, camera fast row or whatever it is, that you have to poke down there at the bottom. It's not just video. That would just be, it's video rolling or something like that. Anyhow, when I played it back before I uploaded it, and I did not upload it, this sucker that cost a lot of money sounded like Donald Duck when I played back the video. And I hope this one doesn't. I won't know till I play it back. If it's good, here's the next step. I'll play enough back to see if the sound's good, the video's good, if there's any mistakes. There's going to be mistakes in my talking because I might mispronounce a word or repeat myself twice or 3 times. So I hope, since I'm not using this, I'm afraid to now. Actually, that's a much higher quality camera and video than I have there, because this is a cheap $100 and something Dell used. So we'll see what any comments are. I'll take all comments, and please give me several days to respond, because I'm not feeling like a class A++ health's not that good. So it may be several days before I get back if you leave me something. Now let me brag before I hang up. Every time I do a video, when I play it back, I think it's so bad that I think about closing my video channel. And this might put an end to it, because I see I've gone several minutes. And I see also I don't have a topic. This is just chat. However, I, I, I can promise you one thing at this point. None of it will be unscripted. I mean, none of it will be scripted. I do the best I can. It's pretty raw. I dress like this. I don't put films out, uh, of other videos. I don't also put photographs from other places to show who I'm talking about. So you and I are friends. Maybe? Can we be friends if you've gotten this far? And I was going to brag about something, wasn't I? I almost have 200 friends now. Subscribers, I mean. They say to shoot for 1,000 or more. That might be stretching it for me. They also want you to have 600 views. That's not to stay on this. That's so you can make a penny. Yeah, I think you make what, for each view you make a fourth of a penny. Once you get to 1,000 subscribers and 600 views, I think I heard somebody announce they get a fourth of a penny for each view. And I don't know how long that view has to be. This is the longest view I've done ever. If you've made it this far, you're my friend. And if you want to receive updates, you can hit subscribe. If you want the update as quick as I release it, you hit the third one up. There's 2 or 3 different ones. I think it's the third one you hit, and it's the executive. The executive. When I put it out, you'll be notified. And I can guarantee something else. I don't know what I'm going to talk about each time, but I will try to make it either entertaining or educational or fun to watch. Now, if anyone has made it this far, if you don't mind, if you hit like, I know you watched the whole thing. If you don't hit like, I'll assume nobody watched the whole thing. Again, my name's Jim Wortham, and I appreciate you even tuning in, even if you only watch me 1 minute. God bless you, and may God make this next year, what will that be? 2026? May God make that the best year so far for you, or at least among the best. You take care now.